Lucifer as the fallen angel. One of the most widespread theories about the devil comes from the idea that he was once a powerful angel named Lucifer who rebelled against God before humanity even existed. The theory mainly develops from scattered passages across the Bible, especially from the books of Isaiah, Ezekiel, and Revelation, though none of them directly tell one complete story. Over centuries, theologians connected these verses together and created the image of a radiant heavenly being whose pride led to his downfall. In this interpretation, Lucifer was not originally evil. He was beautiful, intelligent, and held a high rank among the angels. His rebellion supposedly began when he desired equality with God or wanted worship for himself. After losing a cosmic war in heaven, he and the angels who followed him were cast down to earth or into hell. This theory became deeply influential in Christian tradition, art, literature, and even modern entertainment. Much of the popular image of Satan with a tragic backstory comes more from later interpretations like John Milton's Paradise Lost than from direct scripture itself. The serpent in Eden. Another major theory claims the devil first appeared in human history as the serpent in the Garden of Eden. In the book of Genesis, the serpent convinces Eve to eat the forbidden fruit from the tree of knowledge, leading to humanity's expulsion from paradise. What makes this theory interesting is that the original Genesis text never directly identifies the serpent as Satan. In early Jewish interpretations, the serpent was often viewed simply as a clever animal or symbolic tempter. The direct connection between the serpent and Satan became much stronger later, especially in Christianity, when the book of Revelation described that ancient serpent as the devil. Over time, the serpent transformed into a symbol of deception, temptation, hidden knowledge, and spiritual corruption. Some scholars argue the story reflects ancient Near Eastern myths, where serpents represented chaos or forbidden wisdom. Others believe the serpent represents the darker side of human curiosity itself, rather than a literal demonic being. Satan as God's prosecutor. In early Hebrew texts, Satan does not always appear as an enemy of God. One theory argues that Satan originally functioned more like a heavenly prosecutor or divine investigator. In the book of Job, Satan enters God's court among other heavenly beings and challenges Job's loyalty, suggesting that humans only worship God when life is easy. Rather than acting independently, Satan seems to operate with God's permission. The Hebrew word ha-satan actually means the accuser or the adversary, almost like a title rather than a personal name. Some scholars believe this version of Satan was never meant to represent ultimate evil. Instead, he tested humanity to expose weakness, dishonesty, or false faith. According to this interpretation, the devil evolved gradually over centuries from a servant carrying out divine tasks into a cosmic enemy figure, influenced by later religious developments and foreign mythologies.
The devil as a pagan god. A controversial theory claims the devil's appearance was partly shaped by older pagan religions. During the spread of Christianity across Europe, many pagan gods associated with wilderness, fertility, or horned animals began to be demonized. Figures like the Greek god Pan, who had goat legs and horns, heavily influenced later artistic depictions of Satan. The Celtic horned god Cernunnos and other nature deities may also have contributed to this imagery. Over time, traits connected to pagan worship became associated with evil by Christian authorities trying to separate converts from older religions. This is one reason the devil is often shown with horns, hooves, and animalistic features, even though the Bible rarely describes him that way. Some historians argue the medieval image of Satan was partly constructed from cultural fears surrounding forbidden religions, wilderness rituals, sexuality, and non-Christian traditions. The devil as a symbol of human evil. Some theories reject the devil as a literal being entirely and instead view him as a symbol representing humanity's darker instincts. In this interpretation, Satan embodies greed, violence, pride, addiction, cruelty, and destructive desire. Rather than whispering into people's ears, the devil exists psychologically inside every human being. This view became especially popular among certain philosophers, psychologists, and modern theologians. Thinkers like Carl Jung explored the idea that evil cannot simply be blamed on an external monster, because human beings themselves are capable of terrifying acts. According to this theory, stories about demons and Satan survive because they help people externalize inner conflict. The devil becomes a mirror reflecting the hidden parts of human nature people fear confronting directly. The ruler of hell theory. One of the most famous beliefs about the devil is the idea that he rules hell like a dark king, overseeing the punishment of damned souls. Surprisingly, this image is not strongly supported by early biblical texts. Much of it developed later through medieval literature, paintings, and folklore. In many religious traditions, hell is actually portrayed as a prison for Satan, rather than his kingdom. The idea of Satan sitting on a throne surrounded by fire and demons owes a lot to works like Dante's Inferno, where hell became an organized realm with layers, punishments, and monstrous rulers. Over centuries, this version became deeply embedded in popular culture. Modern movies, games, and horror stories often portray the devil as hell's supreme ruler, even though older traditions sometimes describe him as its future prisoner. The devil as a cosmic rebel. Some modern interpretations portray Satan not as pure evil, but as a rebel fighting against divine authority. This theory became especially popular in certain literary and philosophical circles. In Paradise Lost, Lucifer famously declares that it is better to reign in hell than serve in heaven, turning him into a symbol of defiance and individual will. Later writers and occult thinkers expanded this image, viewing Satan as a figure of rebellion against tyranny, restriction, or blind obedience. Certain modern movements even reinterpret Satan symbolically as representing free thought, skepticism, or resistance to oppressive systems. Critics argue this romanticized version ignores the destructive aspects traditionally associated with Satan, while supporters claim it reflects humanity's struggle against authoritarian control. The devil in Islamic tradition. In Islam, the devil is commonly known as Iblis or Shaitan. Unlike some Christian interpretations, Iblis is not usually viewed as a fallen angel, because angels in Islam are believed to lack free will and cannot rebel against God. Instead, Iblis is often described as a Jinn, a supernatural being created from smokeless fire. According to Islamic tradition, Iblis refused God's command to bow before Adam because he considered himself superior. His pride led to his downfall, and he became a tempter whose mission is to mislead humanity until the day of judgment. What makes this theory fascinating is that Iblis still acknowledges God's existence and power. His rebellion is rooted not in disbelief, but in arrogance. Islamic teachings also place strong emphasis on personal responsibility, meaning Satan can tempt people, but cannot force them to commit evil.